tried to erase everything about my real dad, so I erased his future instead. When my dad died fighting a fire, I was only 8. Mom met Richard 2 years later, and within months, they were married. At first, he seemed nice, bringing me video games and taking us to fancy restaurants. But once they got married, everything changed. It started with small things. Richard accidentally knocked over the urn with Dad's ashes while cleaning. Then he insisted we needed to redecorate, removing all photos of my dad because they didn't match the new style. When I protested, he said, "Your mom needs to move on. Don't you want her to be happy?" The final straw came on my 13th birthday. I went to grab my dad's old firefighter jacket from my closet, the only thing I had left of him. It was gone. Richard claimed he donated it because I never wore it anyway. I found out later he'd thrown it in a dumpster behind his office. Mom always took his side. "Richard's just trying to help us heal," she'd say. But I saw how he smirked when she wasn't looking. He wasn't helping us heal. He was trying to erase my dad. What Richard didn't know was that before becoming a firefighter, my dad had worked as a forensic accountant. He taught me about numbers, patterns, and most importantly, how to spot when something wasn't adding up. One day, while Richard was in the shower, I noticed his work laptop was open. As CFO of his company, he always bragged about his financial genius. But looking at his spreadsheets, I saw something odd. Large amounts of money being moved between accounts with weird names. I spent months gathering evidence, taking photos of documents when he left them out, recording conversations when he'd brag about outsmarting the auditors. I created a detailed report showing how he'd been embezzling millions from his company for years. On the anniversary of my dad's death, Richard announced he was legally adopting me and changing my last name to his. "Time to be a real family," he said. I smiled and agreed. The next morning, I sent my evidence to his company's board of directors, the SEC, and the FBI. Within hours, federal agents swarmed our house. They found offshore accounts, fake businesses, everything I'd documented. Richard was arrested in his expensive suit, crying about how there must be some mistake. As they let him out, I held up my phone, showing him the photos of all the evidence I'd gathered. His face went white when he realized it was me. He got 15 years in federal prison. His assets were seized, including our house. Mom was devastated, but the investigators cleared her of any involvement. She finally saw Richard for who he really was.